Welcome to the Talk to Me podcast with your favorite host, Dumela Marule, where we talk about everything life, relationships, mental health, and business. We'll be talking to many experts in the field, sharing my own experiences, and providing you with actionable tools that you can use in your life. I'm here to help you navigate the ups and downs of young adulthood and provide you with the tools and resources to help you succeed. So whether you're feeling lost, confused, or just need a friend to talk to, I'm here for that. Listen to our podcast on Apple Play, Google Play, and Spotify. And don't forget to hit subscribe, rate our podcast, and review it. I'm here to help you make the best of your young adult years. So let's get started. Welcome to the Talk to Me podcast. Thank you so much for tuning to segment 2 of this particular podcast. Like I mentioned in the first segment, we are actually in Thailand, but this time around we are actually in Phuket. I'm currently sitting in a hotel. It is close to 10 o'clock in the morning and I just woke up and I was like, you know what? I think I want to just record a segment of this. It's quite hot in this place and it's been quite interesting having to navigate, still try to inspire myself and move in the direction that I want to move into as now as a 27-year-old. So I just wanted to continue the segment about talking about the 27 lessons that I've currently learned being a 27-year-old. Part 1, we've discussed about 11 of those lessons, and now we're going to take it full stream ahead with the last bit of those. The first one, which is lesson 12, would be to create your own happiness. I mean, I don't want to say I am a perfect example of such, but the ability to go away to a whole other country on your own and not know anyone, make new friends, meet new people, and, do what you want to do. And just rely on the fact that you can boost yourself, boost your confidence, and be happy. Now, that is a story on its own, but you don't have to travel that far to create your own happiness. If you've caught on to part 1 of the segment of the episode, you would have then heard about living in the present moment, learning to be grateful. All of those things add up to being someone that's able to create your own happiness. You have to learn to love the everyday life. If you don't like your daily life, it is going to be very hard for you to like the nicer things in life. And the nicer things in life should not be just materialistic. You shouldn't be creating happiness by just buying an expensive bag, buying a new pair of shoes or sneakers, or getting any of materialistic items. You should be able to be grateful and happy even in your sad or dull life, which we all have, on a day-to-day basis, but you should find a little bit of excitement from that. Then lesson 13 would be don't be afraid to fall. This goes back to lesson 3, which is like taking risks. Don't be afraid to fall and fail. That's the actual full lesson. So learning to fall head first, because once you've done it once, trust me, you'll know the pain and you won't want to do it again. So you'll be able to come up with any way that you won't be able to fall in that same direction. You could trip, you could stub your toe, you could hurt yourself in the process, but not as painful as falling head first. So learning to fail is exactly the same way. Is that once you learn to take risks, if you're not afraid to fail, you'll then realize that the level of failing kind of decreases. The first time you fail the hardest because there's no lesson that was learned from there. But if you're a really tough person, you will learn that for every failure, there's a lesson behind it. It will then decrease the process of you actually failing the hardest from the previous, but you're still failing until you get it right. You might realize there's multiple L's that you will have to take before you find that one particular W. I am a testament of it. For someone that likes tapping into different types of businesses, I've taken my L's across board and I am in the process of getting my W, all because I want to change my perspective about that. So I had to learn a couple of lessons to realize that for me to get a W, I need to learn why I had multiple L's. Why was this L bigger than the last L? Or why was it smaller or minute than the last L? So learning to fail helps you then go into lesson 14, which is learning from your mistakes. That's the lesson. Why did you actually fail? Why was that the hardest hit or hardest blow that you had to encounter in your life? Until you learn that, you'll never know what it is or what it means to actually fail. So learn from your mistakes, whether it's hurting other people or whether it's mistakes for yourself. Learn to do it because it helps you live life with less regret. Over time, you don't have to repeat the same thing over and over again. You can just learn from it and move from there. From that aspect, you are then able to embody lesson 15, which is you need to be open to new experiences. You will never know how big and small, juxtaposition of that, how big and small the world is because of the fact that you're not open to new experiences. There are so many people in this world, and half the time some of our experiences are just next door. All you need to do is take the time to learn a new experience, whether it is learning a new dish that is from a different culture, learning a new language, learning to create new hobbies, learning to see things in a different way. Learn and be open to new experiences, because those are things that will create a person that is well-rounded. You will want to be a person that takes it upon yourself to really go about all of the day-to-day aspects of life. So learn new experiences that can make it easier for you to carry yourself in your day-to-day world. Then lesson 16 is that if you do happen to be open to new experiences, add a portion of traveling the world as a part of it. So lesson 16 is travel the world. Traveling the world helps you to go into lesson 17, learning a new language. You will not meet the same people as you have back home, because traveling the world opens you up to different things that you really never thought. Different people, different accents. Or you realize that back home, you all speak the same, but in another part of the world, it's the same language that we speak, but our accents are so different. So learn a new language. Get into Duolingo. Find an application that you can learn any type of language from. Currently, I'm learning Korean, primarily because I want to actually spend some time in Korea for just leisure and see if I can do some work from there. And I just think I've been immersed into the K-word for Hollywood, K-word, and I just want to learn that culture. I've fallen in love with the people, how they carry themselves, their morals, and no one's perfect. There's absolutely no one that's perfect, and I'm not saying that they are the perfect people, but I'm just saying for me personally, I've loved how these people just treat themselves. And additionally, from there, I've learned to love their language, I've learned to love their food, I've learned to love them, as a nation. So I actually want to learn that language and be able to travel to that country and explore it. Well, typically the whole of Asia, because I'm also trying to go into learning Japanese and probably Mandarin. So I know it's a lot to take in, but these are just some of the things I've realized, that if you want to open yourself to new experiences, you need to take risks. You're bound to fail and you're going to make mistakes. So once you start thinking that all of the lessons that we're going through are all intertwined, you will then pick up that there's no way to do one without the other. So going to lesson 18 of trying new things, you're not going to go and try new things, or lesson 17 of learning a new language, if you aren't going to want to be open to new experiences. Lesson 15. So that allows you to challenge yourself, which is lesson 19. If you're not going to want to do that, then what's the point of living life? You will never know your purpose. No one is born with a purpose. That is just what I believe. I don't think you're born with a purpose. I think you learn your purpose as you grow. You're born with a talent, that's for sure. But your purpose, you only know it and get the aha moment over time. Whereas lesson 20 talks about stepping outside of your comfort zone. When you are a person that is always complacent, always content, always okay with the area of life you live in, it will be very hard to challenge yourself. It will be very hard for you to navigate life in the most easiest of ways, because you will always be stuck due to the fact that there's just this bubble called your comfort zone that you're not always able to pop. And trust me, no one will take you outside of your comfort zone except yourself. Which means you need to learn that you are the only person that's there to save you. You are the loudest noise that you're going to hear. You are the loudest voice that you're going to hear. There are no other thoughts, no other processes, no other intrinsic thoughts that are going to be as loud as those of yourself. So if you want to experience a new world, if you want to experience new things, if you want to learn a new language, challenging yourself, traveling the world, all of that takes you stepping outside of your comfort zone. And if you're not going to do that, you are not going to then go into lesson 21, which is being by yourself. If you have the loudest voice in your own head and not anyone else's, and you can't sit and listen to it and comprehend the fact that it is you and only you, you will then not be able to sit with yourself. A lot of people struggle with being by themselves, not because it's something that they were born with. Some of it is trauma related and requires you to seek external help so that you could learn that there is nothing wrong with being by yourself. There is a level of healthiness to want to be in solitude, to want to just think without the presence of other people, move without the presence of other people that you know. And it is okay to go about that life, because if you don't, you will go into lesson 23 of not being true to yourself. In this life, you have to be true to yourself. You're becoming a fully grown adult, or are, considering the fact that your brain has fully developed by the age of 24, 25. Scientifically, you are now a true adult. So you have to then be true to your actual self. If you aren't true to yourself, you are doing yourself a disservice. Because if you aren't, how then do you expect to live this life that you've been given? So I encourage you, be true to yourself and be yourself in that present moment. Be by yourself in that present moment. And from that, you will learn what lesson 22 is talking about, which is don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. Everything that you want as a person, you are only going to stand by it if you have strong enough firm conviction that it is something that you believe in. There is no person that stands up for something that they do not believe in, whether it is something that is related to you religiously, culturally, spiritually, in life general. If you stand by something and you believe in it, you must stand by something and believe in something in this world to have a meaning, to have where we're going to lesson 25, to having that purpose. If you don't have a purpose, then that means that there's nothing that you stand by. There's nothing that you live by. There's nothing that pushes you to say that this is why you get up every single day to move in the life that you want to move in. So live your life with purpose. Live your life with extreme purpose and move in that direction. I think I mistakenly said that was lesson 25, but that's actually lesson 24, because lesson 25 talks about if you live a life with purpose, you are able to make a difference to the world. There is this added value Every one of us has value or something that we bring to this world. We sometimes believe that we don't, but that's a goddamn lie. Trust and believe you me, you have a purpose. Don't believe the fact that you don't. It's very unfair to think that you have to take your life because you don't bring anything to this world. That's a lie. There's so much that all of us can bring to this world, and I encourage you to take the time and find what that is, whether it's related to your talent, whether it is related to anything that you might deem value and you might deem that it is of an advantage to the world. Please focus on it in your lifetime and make it a priority to you to find yourself. Now we move on to the last two lessons, which are in relation to lesson 1 and lesson 2, which is learn to be kind to yourself. When we started off, we started with lesson 1, which was be kind to yourself. Lesson 26 is being kind to others. And lesson 27 is loving yourself. All of these are important because if you aren't kind to yourself, firstly, as lesson 1, and if you don't love yourself as the last lesson, how then are you able to learn to be kind to others, to forgive others, to do the external of everything? You have to learn to do the internal first, to you yourself, so that you know that what you give to the world and what you give to everyone else it's extra, because you've done the work yourself to you. So take the time to be kind to yourself. Take the time to love yourself. Take the time to be kind to others. Take the time to love other people. And from there, I promise you, you will start seeing things from a different angle. And it's not to say that life will get better tomorrow. It's just to say that things will be a lot less heavier. And that's the whole point. The whole point is to make life less heavy on yourself. That's simply what it is. It's to enjoy it, because even though challenges will come, you will experience loss, you will experience sadness, but ultimately you choose your happiness. You choose to let go of the past. You choose to look at things from a different angle. And that's it today, my friends. I pray and hope that you found this quite fruitful, and you are then able to tune in into the next segment of our podcast. But till then, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast, and from me to you, with love. Thank you for listening to the Talk to Me podcast. We hope that you find this episode quite helpful and you really enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on my social media platforms. And don't forget that you can also leave a comment under the comment section below. Should you be listening to Apple, either on Google Play or Spotify, do not forget to hit that subscribe, rate our podcast, and review it. I really love to hear any of the suggestions that you guys may have for any of our future episodes. So I'm always looking for ways to improve our show and make it more relevant to my listeners. Thank you again for listening. Until then, see you soon.